Hello and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And today, David, what are we going to do? We're going to start with a quiz, aren't we? Okay. Right. It's Name That Turntable.
Yep.
With a twist.
Yep.
You've got to name the turntable from the dust cover alone. So, look at that. It's...
Can I just... Let me just...
Okay. It's smoked.
It's smoked, yeah.
It's got a very, very odd logo.
It has.
Which I don't think I've ever seen before.
I'm guessing that's acrylic. No, it's not. It's probably just plastic. So it's cheaper.
It's definitely just plastic.
Yeah, it is.
It has got a bit of metal on it, though, and a screw.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good.
Go on. I know you know the answer.
Yeah. Well,
it is...
At a guess, Mike, I'd say it might just be this.
You've brought a Fisher-Price toy with you today.
How dare you?
You have. You have. Okay. Tell the viewers what it is.
It's a Strathearn STM4. Stop laughing.
If you've never heard of this, you are totally forgiven.
Yeah. I'll just hold this in front of Mike's head.
Forgiven.
So there you go. It's much better to look at.
Yes. It's the only way you could improve it. Yes, this is a very, very
bonkers.
Bonkers is the right word. Bonkers is the right word. There's some history in here, though, isn't there, with this turntable? It's to say the very least.
To say the very least. So the most interesting thing about the turntable is not the turntable.
Exactly.
It's the company and it's the story behind it. So I'm gonna put this down for a second and I'll come back to it in a minute. But Strathearn was basically the national hi-fi service of the British government from 1973 until 1979. So we had, as a country, a hi-fi manufacturer, state-run hi-fi manufacturer.
A nationalised industry.
Yes.
The British Leyland of the hi-fi industry.
Yeah. Yes, in a way it was. Yeah, absolutely. It was, and we are connoisseurs of the Great British Leyland, aren't we, Mike?
And if you were to liken this to a British Leyland model, what car would you liken it to?
Well, I've thought about this very carefully on the way over here, and I'm going to say an Austin Allegro 1.3 Super Deluxe.
Wow. Okay.
And,
so not even the bottom of the range one.
No, how dare you? So it's not that bad. Well, maybe it is. But it was, how can I say, dysfunctional, like the Allegro?
Yes.
So the Allegros, I mean, they're worth millions now because like everyone scrapped them, and now the only loonies who want them pay massive amounts for. But sadly, that has not happened with this yet. But the Allegro was famous for its windscreen popping out when it went over a big bump.
Yes.
So, and also I believe the wheel nuts fell off it when going round roundabouts. That could just be an urban myth.
There was a really brilliant documentary on a guy. This is quite a few years ago. A guy who got an Allegro as a company car, and he said it ruined his life.
Yeah.
He said it ruined all his credibility with his friends. He was hoping for a Ford Cortina. His boss bought him the Allegro, and it was the Allegro. They did like an estate as well. It was like a proper ugly, horrible thing. And he said, it ruined his life basically. And it was a feature of a TV documentary.
Yes.
About how Allegros can kill, and before you even drive them. So yes. So your Allegro turntable.
Yeah. So Strathearn was a nationalised industry. But it wasn't a nationalised industry because it wasn't private before. Mm-hmm. It was a startup, a government-owned, UK taxpayer-owned startup in Northern Ireland to create jobs for the workers in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. And we remember, the sort of the nasty stuff going on in Belfast and stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
In the 70s with the IRA and all that kind of thing. And probably the closest comparison is DeLorean.
Yes.
Because DeLorean was a startup car company, wasn't it? Basically.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, John DeLorean, that was his idea. Whereas Strathearn, I believe the idea was from some Sir Humphrey in the in Whitehall. But DeLorean ended up manufacturing cars in Northern Ireland and going bust, running out of money. The DeLorean saga ended when John DeLorean was nicked doing a drug deal, I believe. But that didn't happen with Strathearn because they realised it was so bad it wasn't worth saving.
No.
Yes, the Strathearn company started in 1973, and this turntable was launched in 75 after extensive research and development done by a Cambridge industrial design company. And it's a direct drive turntable. But unlike Technics, it uses a direct drive motor from a toy company, previously seen in toys, and doesn't work very well in hi-fi applications.
And in fact, just going back a step, so if you went over a bump in your Allegro, the windscreen would fall out.
Yeah.
If you drove too fast, the wheel nuts would fall off.
Yeah.
What's the Strathearn's party trick?
It goes backwards.
This is true. Now, I've got to say,
let me demonstrate. We can't exactly show, but
I can't help but sort of try to explain my exasperation here. My colleague, my pal here, turns up with the most random pieces of hi-fi kit, and normally it's like really amazing. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you had one of those. And today, when you turned up with this, actually the only fact I knew about it was they go backwards.
Yes, and
so
even
you turn them on and it would literally rip the stylus out of the cantilever.
Well, even worse than that, some idiot put a DIN plug on. I mean, who uses DIN plugs, Mike?
Right, I'm going to go and get my name, Nate, and we're going to plug it in and we're going to see if it goes backwards or forwards. But
so yes,
I won't be putting any of my Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab albums on there.
No, probably best not to.
No.
So, in fairness, it was just a few that went backwards when they were first designed. They used to spin back slightly and then kind of go the right way. But you can't unsee a turntable going backwards. Can you?
That's right. It's like saying there's only a few hand grenades that went off before the pin was pulled.
Yes,
it doesn't quite work, does it?
And sadly, in 1975, when this appeared, scratching on turntables hadn't been invented.
No, I was going to say that. Maybe this was the sort of, dare I say, pioneer, no pun intended.
You could kind of scratch with it like that, or you could just turn it on.
Just turn it on and it would go either direction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, there we go. But okay, you're being, you're having your fun.
I am.
But I rather like this in a way. So, it's I think actually got a lovely industrial design to it. So also available in white. Which is futuristic. A lot of hi-fi now coming out in white. Can't. It was a rival kind of to the sort of PL12D of the time. It looks like it's from outer space compared to the Pioneer to a PL12D. You've got a PL12, haven't you?
Yeah,
and it looks like it's from the 18th century. So look at this futuristic, cutting-edge design. Fantastic. The only reason I can kind of move it around like this is it's so light. So it's
I can see the tone arm moving backwards and forwards with the bearing play when you move that.
Well, it's kind of got Fisher-Price build quality.
It really has.
Going back to its toy direct drive motor.
I'm not sure quite how you compared it to a DeLorean. I'd love a DeLorean.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm totally enamoured by your Strathearn.
Well, this hasn't aged quite as well.
No.
But it is up for sale if anyone wants to buy it.
Nobody,
considerably less than a DeLorean.
Nobody will want to buy it. I promise you. So.
Well, I would if I didn't have one already. So.
Yes. I won't ask why it's up for sale then. Yeah. We won't go down that route.
So, if I
go on.
While you're let's just stop taking the piss out of my turntable. So this the main problems with this turntable were the direct drive motor, the fact that it's got shonky build quality, and it's like mostly made of plastic,
and it went backwards.
It went backwards. It allegedly, occasionally. This one doesn't. Sadly, I wish it did. So,
I could sort that for you.
So, but
it must be wired wrong.
Yeah, the tone arm was a bit sort of crap as well. So there we go. I think I've broken it. Whoops. There we go. I think that's the anti-skate. There we go. Let's just show you that works well.
Fantastic.
So there was another one, the SMA2, which was the high-end version of this, and And when that came out in 1977, one Hi-Fi magazine said, and I quote in the review, "It cannot be recommended under any circumstances."
That's just brilliant.
There we
Brilliant.
go.
I've seen a few Hi-Fi magazine reviews like that, to be honest with you.
So
About much higher end things than that.
So there we go. But the sad thing really was that it it was badly conceived, very poorly executed. I mean, the design itself was nice, but the quality of the components were utter, grot, and it didn't help. It didn't really help what it was trying to do. It was trying to make work for people in Northern Ireland, I think in Belfast, it didn't really. There was about 350 jobs were made for a short period, and by the 1979 the whole thing had collapsed, and tragically, I think outside the launch of outside the factory gates, someone was shot dead by the IRA.
Gosh.
Which lends a rather somber end to this story. But it was absolutely immersed in those terrible troubled times, and just didn't work. In the end, the managing director, when he was asked by a journalist how was it going, how was Strathearn going, his famous quote was, "You can't make it any worse." Well, Strathearn did.
Yes. Yeah.
They often made
Then
things
it went backwards.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was ousted from his job, and they ended up running it from Whitehall, the Department of Commerce in Whitehall, at the very end.
Unbelievable.
So it's an amazing story.
Amazing. Yeah.
A salutary tale.
Yeah. Yeah.
My advice to you, if you're thinking of buying one, don't.
No,
So,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
The information you pick up from an episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff,
it is,
isn't it?
yeah.
I'm not sure we were going to be doing many turntables
No.
like this, but look, it's part of Hi-Fi heritage, isn't it? It's part
Yeah.
of what we do and how we get to where we are now. So.
Well, no other, turntables ever made effectively by the British taxpayer.
No, very true.
As far as I know.
No,
So it's something for the Hi-Fi Riff Christmas quiz, I think.
Interesting.
Next, at the end of this year.
Yeah.
This is for sale, but if I'm speaking impartially, don't buy one.
No.
Sounds rubbish.
No.
So there we go.
There we are. Look, let's do a riffometer.
Yeah. One.
That's one more than I was going to give it.
Okay. I'm. So I think you're being mean. I'll give it 2.
Okay.
So, there you go.
I'll give it 1.
Yeah. All right.
Only for comedy value because it went backwards, which is just this absolutely wonderful party piece. I never thought I'd see one, by the way. So there we are. There we are. And I'm sure neither did you, and maybe you're not so happy you did.
Something for the Hi-Fi Museum.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, look, thank you for bringing that in. Again, a normal service will be resumed at our next episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff, and we hope you can join us then.
If you want a direct drive turntable, buy Technics.
Every single time.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.